Hey there, ready to dive into something delicious.
I'm ready.
Today we're all about satisfying that sweet tooth
Sounds good to me.
and maybe even learning a trick or two to impress at your next get-together.
Oh, right.
We're talking about chocolate panna cotta.
Ooh, fancy.
It sounds fancy, right? But trust me, this Italian dessert is all about elegant simplicity and deep, rich chocolate flavor.
You had me at chocolate.
And you might be surprised to learn that panna cotta, which literally means cooked cream, has a pretty humble origin story.
So, where did it come from?
We're talking leftover cow's milk in the Piedmont region of Italy. Talk about resourceful.
Wow, using up leftovers to make a fancy dessert? That's impressive.
I love that turning something basic into a total classic.
Yeah.
Speaking of basic, the ingredient list for this is surprisingly short.
Okay, I like short ingredient lists, so tell me more.
We've got whole milk, heavy cream, gelatin, dark chocolate, cocoa powder, sugar, and a pinch of salt.
Okay, that does sound pretty simple.
But, okay, I gotta ask, the recipe says the more cream, the better?
Uh-huh.
Why is that?
Well,
Is it just about richness, or is there something else going on?
you're spot on about the richness, but it's more than that. The higher fat content in cream actually plays a crucial role in the texture of panna cotta. It gives you that melt-in-your-mouth smoothness that's so characteristic of this dessert. And historically speaking, cream was considered a luxury ingredient, so using a lot of it was a way to show up a little.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like indulgence built right into the recipe. I'm into it. Now, what about the gelatin? I know it's what gives panna cotta that signature wobble, but I've definitely had my share of gelatin fails in the past. Any tips on avoiding clumps or that weird rubbery texture?
Absolutely. The key is blooming the gelatin properly. You want to sprinkle it over cold water and let it sit for about 5 minutes. This allows the gelatin to absorb the water and swell up, ensuring it dissolves evenly when you add it to the warm cream mixture. It's like pre-hydrating it for a super smooth final result.
And speaking of smooth, I've heard that using a fine mesh sieve is a game changer for panna cotta. Is that true, or can we skip that step?
Definitely not a skippable step. Straining the mixture after the chocolate melts and the gelatin is incorporated removes any tiny bits of undissolved gelatin or chocolate, guaranteeing that luxuriously smooth texture we're going for. Think of it as the final polish before the grand finale.
All right, so we've got our ingredients prepped, our gelatin is bloomed, and our sieve is ready. What's next? Let's get to the actual cooking part.
Okay, so now we're going to gently heat the milk, heavy cream, and sugar in a saucepan, stirring often until it just simmers. And this is crucial. No boiling. We want to maintain that smooth, creamy base, and boiling will disrupt that.
I've definitely been guilty of scorching milk in the past. Any tips for avoiding that?
Low and slow heat is your best friend here. You really want to be patient and let the ingredients melt together beautifully without any burnt flavors. Think of it as a gentle dance, not a frantic race.
Got it. Low and slow. Okay, so now we've got our creamy mixture simmering away. What's the next step in this delicious dance?
Now comes the fun part. We stir in the dark chocolate and cocoa powder. This is where that rich, velvety chocolate base comes to life. And you'll want to make sure the chocolate is fully melted and incorporated before moving on to the next step.
This is the part where I usually get way too impatient. But I know from experience that patience is key when it comes to good chocolate.
Exactly. Rushing this step can lead to grainy chocolate, and nobody wants that. So take your time, savor the aroma, and stir until it's perfectly smooth.
Okay, I'm officially drooling. What happens after the chocolate is all melted and gorgeous?
Now we bring back our trusty fine mesh sieve. Carefully pour the chocolate mixture through the sieve into a separate bowl, making sure to catch any lumps or bits. This step ensures that final silky texture that makes panna cotta so irresistible.
All right, so we've got our perfectly smooth chocolate mixture. What do we do with it now?
Now it's time to portion out our beautiful chocolate creation into ramekins or small cups. You can get creative here using different sizes and shapes for a visually appealing presentation.
Oh, I like where you're going with this. I'm thinking those cute little glass jars I have, they'd be perfect for individual servings.
Exactly. It's all about making it your own. And once you've poured the panna cotta into your chosen vessels, it's time to let them chill in the fridge for at least 2 hours. This allows the gelatin to set fully, creating that signature wobbly texture.
Okay, 2 hours of chill time. Got it. But while we wait, I'm curious about something. You mentioned earlier that panna cotta is a blank canvas for culinary creativity. But for someone like me, who's maybe not a super experienced cook, what are some easy ways to add a little extra flair?
Great question. One of the easiest ways to elevate your panna cotta is with fresh berries. Their bright acidity cuts through the richness of the chocolate, creating a beautiful balance of flavors. And they add a pop of color, which is always a plus.
That's a great idea. I'm picturing raspberries and blackberries artfully arranged on top. Yum.
Exactly. And if you're feeling extra decadent, a dollop of whipped cream is always a winner. Or you could sprinkle on some chopped nuts for a bit of crunch. And a dusting of cocoa powder or grated chocolate adds that finishing touch of elegance.
Okay, I'm already planning my panna cotta masterpiece. But I also remember you mentioning something about panna cotta being a great make-ahead dessert.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. One of the beautiful things about panna cotta is that it can be made a day or two in advance, which is perfect for stress-free entertaining. Just keep them covered in the fridge until you're ready to serve.
That's a game changer. It means you can enjoy the party without being stuck in the kitchen. Speaking of parties, I've got to ask, how did panna cotta go from a humble dish made with leftover milk to this elegant dessert that's served all over the world?
Well, legend has it that panna cotta was a happy accident. An Italian woman in the Piedmont region was looking for a way to use up leftover milk. She combined it with cream, sugar, and gelatin, and voila! This simple yet delightful dessert was born.
I love that. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade, or in this case, leftover milk into a culinary icon.
Exactly. And from there, panna cotta quickly gained popularity throughout the region. It's believed that the dish eventually made its way to France, where it was refined and elevated to the elegant dessert we know and love today.
Wow, so it's got this whole fascinating history and evolution behind it.
It really does, and what's so remarkable is that even though it's considered a classic, panna cotta continues to inspire pastry chefs and home cooks alike. They're constantly experimenting with new flavors, textures, and presentations, keeping this timeless dessert fresh and exciting.
That's what I love about cooking. It's all about taking something classic and making it your own.
Absolutely, and that's why we're so excited to share this recipe with you today.
Speaking of the recipe, where can our listeners find it? I'm sure they're just as eager to try their hand at making their own chocolate panna cotta as I am.
You can find the full recipe, along with detailed instructions and helpful tips, on our website, www.forkandfry.com. We've even included some variations to inspire your culinary creativity.
That's awesome. And I know you've got tons of other great recipes and culinary inspiration on the website, too.
We do. We're passionate about sharing our love of food and helping you create memorable meals in your own kitchen. So whether you're a seasoned cook or just starting out, we encourage you to visit our website and explore all that we have to offer.
And while you're at it, be sure to check out our social media pages, too.
Absolutely. We love connecting with our fellow food enthusiasts and seeing all the amazing dishes you're creating. So be sure to tag us in your photos, share your panna cotta creations, and let us know what you think of the recipe.
Okay, so we've talked about the history, the ingredients, the steps, the variations. I think we've pretty much covered everything there is to know about chocolate panna cotta.
We have, but the most important thing is to just have fun with it. Don't be afraid to experiment, get creative, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
I love that advice because sometimes I get so caught up in following a recipe exactly that I forget to just relax and enjoy the creative process.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And that's what cooking should be all about.
Right.
It's a way to express yourself, to try new things, and to create something delicious and beautiful. And with a dessert like panna cotta, you really can't go wrong.
You got it. Remember, we broke down all the steps, and the full recipe is waiting for you on www.forkandfry.com. Go ahead, impress yourself, and maybe even a few friends with this classic dessert.
And hey, once you've created your own panna cotta masterpiece, share it with us.
Yeah.
We love seeing your culinary adventures come to life.
Absolutely. Tag us on social media, leave a comment on our blog post, or just send us a message. We're always thrilled to connect with our listeners.
So there you have it, folks, a deep dive into the world of chocolate panna cotta, a dessert that's rich in history, flavor, and endless possibilities. We hope you're feeling inspired to get in the kitchen and give it a try.
Until next time, happy cooking.